RobbyG. We are live with Wino Wednesday, the Champagne edition. So hopefully this will work. One of the best sounds in the world, right? Hopefully it'll work.
Oh,
it
yeah!
Cheers,
It should sound like a French woman sighing.
It should. And look at this. Oh, is that a French woman sighing?
You like that?
That doesn't sound like any sigh that I knew, but okay, if you say so. Welcome.
You never heard the French sigh, that's why.
I didn't. Welcome, everybody, to Wino Wednesday, the Champagne edition.
Welcome, everybody.
I am Gina.
And I'm RobbyG.
Yes.
It's 5 o'clock in San Diego.
It's 5 o'clock in San Diego. It feels like we have not done this for a couple weeks because we
It's been a
took
while.
a week off because you did the special fundraiser that last Thursday. So
That's right.
Yeah, I feel like I'm ready.
So we're overdue for some wine. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
And not just any wine.
Not just any wine. What I would call the creme de la creme of bubbles in the world.
The best of the best.
Champagne. However, everybody out there has got the Marie de Mont champagne from France, the real deal. I, RobbyG, had a bottle in my car and opened the back hatch for us, and it fell out. And I lost my champagne. So this is a sad day. So I have a substitute bubbles standing in for me today because I was not going to not have bubbles. It's really tragic. So I did have the Marie the Marie de Mont a couple weeks ago, so I can talk about its flavors and tell you all about that champagne. But right now I'm going to be drinking a Blanc de Blanc, which we'll talk about cava instead. So I hope that's okay, everyone. Hope you enjoy the champagne.
It's funny. I got here last minute. I'm going to pull the curtain back, and I looked down. I'm like, that doesn't look like champagne. But,
yeah.
So I'm hearing the story with all of you right now.
Yeah. I was so sad. And there was not a bottle to spare because we just did not have a bottle to spare. Sad day. That is the saddest day ever. Why can't I drop like a bottle of water? Not a bottle of champagne. Another
kind of pulling the curtain back. I've done similar things. So we're doing a lot of deliveries these days because of the whole situation. I was doing deliveries today.
Yeah.
I've opened my car door and had wine fall out. I've had plates fall out. So I usually do carry an extra plate or two or bottle or two just to be safe.
Yeah.
For those times. Yeah.
For the times. Well.
It happens.
That being said, bubbles it is. So what we're going to start with, everybody, is I'm going to go through all the different types of champagne glassware today. And we're going to start by showing how I learned to pour champagne. And Rob, you can pour as well.
All right.
Your beverage of choice.
Okay.
I'm going to use this one, you use that one.
Is this my glass here?
You are using the trumpet. I am going to use the tulip glass.
Okay.
And apparently to pour champagne, everybody, so because you don't want the bubbles to disappear any faster than they need to, pour it so it hits the side as it goes down.
That's like pouring a beer.
Yeah, like pouring a beer. Same concept. And we're going to pour, if you've got a tulip-y shaped glass like this, to about halfway or the fattest part of the glass. And I'll tell you why momentarily, but wanted to first give a cheers because it's very important to always have a toast before we get the show on the road.
My trumpet, the fattest part is the very top, so I should pour to the very top? Or is that only for the tulip?
Oh, that's a good question. Only for the tulip. I'll tell you about the trumpet momentarily. But also, Rob, I'm going to be answering questions, everybody who's new to this YouTube situation. There's the chat room is open. If you have a YouTube account, you can sit and chat. I'm going to start answering questions. We'll try to get to everybody. If you don't, you can just follow along. It's really kind of fun that way. But we're doing a toast, and I need to send out, Rob, this is very special, a special toast to Israel and Frida. You two celebrating a 51st anniversary tonight.
Congratulations.
And your kids are celebrating as well. And Lee mentioned that it's your anniversary, you two. So, Israel and Frida, congratulations. Cheers.
Big cheers to that.
51. Holy moly, well done. Enjoy the champagne, enjoy the cheese, and enjoy your celebration together.
What is that? Is that like the silver, golden?
I thought 50 is a diamond, or it's got to be gold. Maybe diamond, I don't know. Maybe diamonds is, I don't know. It should be champagne.
It's awesome. Our little hummingbird came and said congratulations
too. Congratulations as well.
She came right in the chat.
I love it.
Congratulations on that.
Congrats, everyone. So, Rob, maybe point out what's on the cheese plate so everyone can start nibbling as we go, as I start sipping my bubbles.
So as we like to do here, please pop open your champagne and get going on that. And we do have an order for the cheeses, and I want to explain what is what, because we do want to taste in order, and we have accoutrements as well. And just please go along at your own pace, but we'll talk about each cheese as we snack on them. the first cheese, and it's also the same order that's on your lid that has the list of the cheeses. The first cheese is called Brillat Savarin, and it's the one that looks like a brie. It's a white cheese with a white rind on it. We've smudged it on this cracker here, but it's this guy right here. I can't really pick it up because it's too... Well, maybe I could. Well, no. It's going to get messy.
No, it's going to be messy.
But it's the one that looks like a brie. It's a soft triple cream. We have, for the second cheese, a cheese called Kuntal, and that one looks like this. It kind of looks like a cheddar, tastes like a cheddar. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck.
Is it a duck?
Or something like that. Or quacks like a duck.
Quack it is, yeah.
Then it's probably a duck. So that's the Cantal. That's the second cheese. The third cheese is this guy. It's called Morbier, and it has a little bit of ash through the middle. So there's a little streak that goes through the middle of this one. So that should be, and it's kind of like medium texture. It's not quite as firm as the Kuntal. And then the fourth cheese is the Bleu de Basque, and it should be pretty obvious which one that is. It is this really rustic looking blue moldy guy with a natural rind on it. So it's a really gritty cheese we'll get to last. Reason we're doing it last is because it's a blue cheese and it's going to be
big and bold,
pretty funky in a good way. And then some of the accoutrements we have chocolate pretzel.
Because chocolate and champagne.
Everyone's got some grapes. We have strawberries because
strawberries and
champagne. You all have some whole grain mustard from France.
Yes, Dijon mustard.
And then various dried fruits. We have apricots on ours. I know some people have cranberries, some people have pears, but you'll have a dried fruit on there as well. And then crackers, of course.
Cornichons.
Ah.
Also, they're French.
And little baby pickles, which of course the French have a fancy name for, cornichon.
Cornichon. Oui. We're going to do as many French words as we can, which aren't very many.
Not my strong suit, not good at French. But one French word is champagne.
Champagne. So, do tell.
Well, so first of all, Champagne is a place. So we know it. I'll wait for the motorcycle to stop speeding by. We've also got a baseball playoff game that doesn't include any team from San Diego happening a few hundred feet from here.
Yep.
The Yankees and the Devil Rays are playing, so we may hear some some announcements or something. Anyway, Champagne is a region, so we think of it as a wine, and it gets is associated with the wine, but it is a place in France, and it is it's right next door to Burgundy, which is another famous region.
Which is kind of like northern France, wouldn't you say?
It's northern eastern.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's like it's northeast of Paris as well. But the word derives from Campania, which just means like countryside, basically.
Okay.
It's a northernmost region. It's a northernmost wine region in the world, at least famous wine region, and it basically it's the most important region that's tied into the AOC, which stands for Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée.
Your French is very good.
Thank you very much.
Merci.
Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, or AOC for short.
Right.
And so Champagne was the first wine that they sort of protected and controlled that name. And in order for a wine to take on that name of Champagne, one, and most importantly, the grapes have to be grown in that region of Champagne. Mm-hmm. And it can be one of or all of three, or a mixture of three grapes, and the three grapes are Chardonnay, Pinot Noir. So those are like the most famous white and red grape. Yep. And I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second. Whoa. Because Burgundy is right next door, white Burgundy is Chardonnay, and red Burgundy is Pinot Noir. So it's a good thing to remember.
That's true, and I never do.
So, because they won't tell you the varietal usually, they'll just say it's a Burgundy, and if you see it's red, then it's probably a Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
The third grape for Champagne is called Pinot Meunier, and it's also sometimes called the Black Riesling, and it's a really, really dark grape, and sometimes it's used, sometimes it's not, so sometimes people forget about it. It's the least known of any of the grapes.
Interesting, yeah.
But, I mean, gosh, 15,000 growers, and
in a small region, relatively.
Yeah. It's 85,000 acres. I love numbers, so I always have numbers. But 85,000 acres. There's 15,000 growers, and there's a couple of big cities in the region. One is the city of Reims, Reims, and there's a really famous cathedral there. I encourage you to Google it if you like Gothic architecture especially. And the other city there is called Epernay, and that is where they have the Avenue of Champagne, which is like the main street, like their Broadway, with all the champagne houses on it.
I love that idea of champagne houses.
Big, small, Veuve Clicquot and Dom Perignon, they're all right there, along with like single-family homes that just have been making champagne forever, kind of all
How
mixed in
romantic
together.
does that sound? Like, just
Right?
how perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so those are called houses, and they make the champagne. And so so champagne is really, it's not about like a vintage, like a single year. It's all about blending the grapes
And doing it just right. That's interesting that you say, because like the one we're serving today, everybody, the Marie de Mont, 100% Pinot Noir. So when you're talking about Pinot Noir or Chardonnay, this one 100% Pinot. And it's a little family business. They've been making wine since the 50s. So not the longest time, but he started with just a couple acres, and then through the the patriarch of the family just started expanding and growing the farm and his acreage. And now they only still produce 90,000 bottles a year. So think about that. That's not a lot. And for us to get some of it, that's really great, because so much of it gets consumed in France alone. So, it kind of makes it even more exclusive and really, really yum.
Are they in Epernay? Does it say there? Do we know?
Yes, it did talk about that, and it is. I saw that somewhere. Correct.
So they're probably on that main tag there.
Oh, so maybe they have a house of champagne, a house near their house of champagne.
And when I say the smaller ones, it's not like a little cottage in Ocean Beach or something. Like, they're still big places.
Okay, a chateau.
Yeah,
perhaps?
a chateau.
A chateau.
Yeah.
Chateau.
But I was going to say, so they have 15,000 growers, and then the growers, they all they're in what are called crews. That's like the villages, and depending on the crew or the village and the year, like the weather or whatever, the quality of the grapes, they get graded on a scale of like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 or whatever, and that determines the price that the houses pay for those grapes year to year. And so they bring in all the grapes, and they start by making a bunch of still wines, and they'll have up to 100 different still wines made, and then they'll start the process of blending. And between so what did I say, 110 houses, and then they'll start blending the grapes. Now, I mentioned also that it's the northernmost wine region in the world, and this was problematic because for a long time Champagne was trying to rival Burgundy, their neighbor, who makes the amazing still wines. But what happened was when they were the wine, the still wine is made when the grape juice basically it ferments and turns into wine. So like the yeast eats the sugar, it turns into still wine.
Scientific process. Yes.
If that happens for a second time, the wine becomes fizzy or bubbly, and so they don't want that to happen, or they didn't want that to happen. But what happened was, because it gets cold in Champagne, the yeast would freeze. So then when the yeast would unfreeze, when the weather got warmer, it would cause a second fermentation, and it would cause the wines to be fizzy, and of course, like when the secondary fermentation happens, when yeast eats the sugar, it kind of creates like a sediment or a gunk, and so that would get into the wines, and they would become almost like chewy and coarse and weird, and
weird.
they weren't very good.
Nobody wants sediment in their wine.
So for 1,000 years or something, they were trying to be something that they weren't, and it wasn't until a guy named Dom Perignon, who was a monk.
It's always the monks.
Yep.
The monks have it. They know how to live.
They know how to live, and they know how to. They're very crafty.
Yes.
And
do it yourself.
They're
crafty,
DIY.
Figure it out.
They were the original hipsters and DIYers. And so this guy Dom Perignon, who was he was a monk, and he lived in a monastery, which is now the facility where not Dom Perignon. What's the Moet and Chandon?
Moet and
Chandon. Excuse me. And he was like, you know what? Let's embrace the sparkle, Okay. I don't know if he actually said that term, but
that's a good line.
I'm gonna say he did. And he started saying, let's not try to be like Burgundy. Let's not try and be like Bordeaux. Yeah. Let's make really, really good sparkling wines. And so he really introduced, and a few others. I mean, he's not the only one credited for improving the wine or making it what it is today. But they started doing something called the Champagne method, and that is a 7-step process to making the best sparkling wine you can make. And the steps in the process are first it's harvesting and pressing. And that goes back to like all those growers, the 15,000 growers that pick their grapes locally, press them all locally. The second step is fermentation, and that is basically turning grape juice into still wine.
Okay.
The third step is blending, and because the weather is so iffy there, it's not about vintages. It's all about they blend for consistency from year to year.
Interesting. Because you don't see that. You don't see this is a 2015 champagne. I mean, that's not what you're looking for and stuff.
They'll declare maybe 2-3 tops vintages per decade.
Okay, right. So it's super exclusive to get those perfect years.
It has to be a really, really good year.
Yeah, a good year. Okay.
And those are fewer and farther between these days because of the weather change. The third step is blending. Fourth step is called liqueur de tirage, and that's where they add some. So they control it all now, but that's where they add some more yeast to start up the secondary fermentation.
Ah, okay.
And that secondary fermentation happens in the champagne bottle. So that's happening as the champagne bottles are aging in these racks, and the racks are in these caves that have been carved out of the limestone, which is all part of the terroir, like the reason why the grapes are so delicious. And what happens is they get all that gunk at the bottom of the bottle as the bottle ages, and they have these guys that are called riddlers.
Riddlers, that's super cool. Yeah.
like Batman's.
No, not like that.
Arch
so
rival,
creepy.
arch nemesis. But so the riddlers would tip the bottles just a little bit every couple days until all that gunk, all that sediment got into the neck of the bottle.
So crazy, right? Because that's why the riddlers, when you see them, are angled like this to do exactly that, to put that sediment into the neck. Yeah.
I mean, these bottles are aging in these giant caves that are underground or carved into like mountains, and these guys literally ride around on bicycles, and they have these big racks,
so cool.
and they tip these racks. So they're doing a lot of them at once. It's called a gyro pallet, the machine that they use. And so once all the sediment gets into the neck of the bottle, then they by the way, they've topped that bottle with a temporary cap, and so they freeze the top of the bottle, and they take it out, and they shoot out all the sediment.
Isn't that so weird? Yeah. The pressure just kind of really shoots it out, right? Yeah.
And then that leaves a little bit of space, and so with that little bit of space, they will decide if they're going to make it like a sweeter champagne or a more dry champagne, or they can make it a rosé by putting in some red.
Yeah.
So they can do a lot of things with that last part of the process.
Super cool.
But it takes a lot of skill, and it's a process.
Yeah. This is not something to be rushed.
No.
Champagne making. All right, 2 questions from 2 people that we know very well. Jason Ross, welcome back again. So Jason, we're talking about the skins. Is it the skins that give the color to the champagne? Like, is that what's going to make a rosé or you see sparkling Shirazes or just anything? Is it the skins that's giving that color?
Yeah.
Versus the grape?
Yeah. Yes. There's a couple ways to get color. One is letting them sit on the skins or with the skins, and the other way is to literally put red wine in at the end of the process.
Ah, okay, so they'll do it both ways. Interesting, to get the color.
There's 2 ways to get color.
Yeah, the juice of all grapes, right, is white.
Yeah,
it comes down to the skin giving it the red.
Well, the one they're drinking right now is a Pinot Noir, right?
Yep, it's Pinot Noir. And look at very clear, so interesting. So skins is what makes color in the wines. Yeah, always. Okay, you talked about freezing the top of the bottle. Rob, why didn't I think of it? Hello, George. George Harris is on again.
Hey, George.
George suggested I sabered to open it next time.
Yeah.
Anybody doesn't know what savoring is? Okay, we've tried this twice. Do you remember the first we tried it down when we had the shop at downtown San Diego?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I do remember.
Savoring is oh my God. Savoring is opening a champagne bottle using like a sword. We don't have a sword, so we just use a big chef's knife to do this.
You don't have a machete in the house?
Oh, I don't have a machete. Roger will not let me have a machete. It's probably
a good
quite
idea.
safe. Yeah, but you know what, Rob? I'm gonna practice. Some other time we're gonna saber again. We'll just do a sabering episode.
Well, you broke a bottle like taking it out of the
Oh,
car, so imagine sabering.
I couldn't even carry it. Yes, imagine sabering it. So, someday.
We had for the longest time. We had there was a stain on the ceiling.
Okay, thanks.
In our Mission Hill shop.
Thanks a lot.
Because this is maybe in like 2008 or 9. It was the holidays, and it was like the last day before Christmas. It must have been Christmas Eve, or maybe the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was in Madhouse.
We opened a bottle of champagne in the shop, and it shot up and everywhere. And there was like a water. It was like a stain on the ceiling.
Remember, I just set the bottle on the ground and it just shot up like you know how those sparklers at the 4th of July just shoot up?
Oh.
Can I tell you why?
Uh-huh.
Because somebody told me, and this is so wrong, don't ever do this. Somebody said you don't twist the cork, you twist the bottle.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to do, but I don't know what happened. The whole bottle just fell out of my hand, slammed on the ground, and just the pressure released, and it just shot up everywhere. And yeah.
Well, speaking of baseball playoffs and celebrations, it looked like a locker room. When they celebrate, we had like
dripping.
champagne all
Wasn't
over us.
I just standing there and they're like moving me out of the way?
I think we were just laughing probably.
Yeah,
we were
pretty
laughing probably like
Champagne's a dangerous
hysterically, but like deliriously after a long day, a holiday. Remember those? Oh my gosh, those are.
We need that.
We called it
required
holidays, like DAZE.
Yes, we should do a movie. What was that movie? Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that was a great movie, by the way.
Great movie. We could improve upon it. We'll just be holidays, but it'll all be about retail, working at the cheese shop during the holidays.
And confused.
Holidays and confused.
Mm-hmm.
Can we eat hollandaise sauce with
Yes.
it, or something? Okay, that's digressing. I've only had one glass, and the bubbles go straight to my head. So we have to say a couple other things too. Oh, Frida. This is the couple, the very young couple, Frida, celebrating the 51st. If you missed it, a toast to you again, Frida. And Israel, happy 51st anniversary. That's
Cheers.
Amazing and incredible. Keep it going. Fabulous. Wonderful. Welcome. Super glad to have you. And Jewel says, can we just rent a saber? Can I rent a sword? Where can you rent a sword? Who has a sword? Do you have a sword?
We do. That's a different story.
We will be savoring then someday.
You remember my wedding, Gina, with the swords?
I do. We will be savoring someday. Okay, can we talk about one of the cheeses? Are you going to eat?
Yeah.
Or can I eat one of the cheeses?
Eat this one.
And tell them about the Brillat Savarin.
Okay.
Because
let's start talking about the Brillat
cheese.
Savarin. We'll go back to some champagne tidbits and notes later. But the first cheese is called Brillat Savarin. And it's actually named for a guy who was one of the first French foodies. Before the term foodie was even popular.
Wasn't he a gastronomist?
He's or gastronome. I don't know what the term is. But his name was Jean Anthelme Brillat Savarin.
What a name.
He's he's known for a lot of things, but maybe the thing that really he's most remembered for is he wrote a book called The Physiology of Taste. And
yeah, that's right. Very well known.
And it's I think it's required reading, and at least it used to be in some culinary schools. But he was a great lover of all things French, and he loved truffles. He has a lot of really good quotes. You can look up quotes of Brillat Savarin.
They're famous.
Like he once said, truffles are the diamonds of the earth. That's him.
Did he say the quote about Charles de Gaulle in the French?
He said no.
No, that was somebody else.
But he said something about like, you tell me what you eat, and I'll tell you what you are. Basically, you are what you eat.
Yes.
Something like that.
I'm cheesy.
Yeah. So we're pretty much all cheese.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brillat Savarin is what the cheese is known. That's where the name comes from, and the cheese itself is a Brie style cheese, meaning it's not from the region of Brie, but it's from pretty close by in a region called Normandy, and it's a little bit different from a really traditional Brie in that it's a triple cream. So the traditional Bries are more mushroomy, earthy. They are they're still very creamy, but this one is more buttery, kind of more sweet.
It's so light too.
And light and fluffy.
I mean, even though it has 70% or more butter fat in it, to me it's super light. It's almost airy. It's almost whipped. You know, isn't it crazy? To me, it's whipped. And triple cream Bries, everybody, are the quintessential classic perfect pairing with bubbles. And that makes kind of sense. Think of it. That cheese, if you just eat it on its own, even without a cracker, just get a spoon and just put that on your tongue. That's going to just coat your tongue with heavy cream. And the bubbles are like little scrubby bubbles, you know, on the palate that work perfect with a triple cream. So that if you're ever having appetizers and you're doing champagne and just doing something lovely, just put out some triple cream Brie and strawberries. Because honestly, the three together, heaven on earth. This could be dinner for me. Bubble. Yeah.
Now, there's various types of pairings, and there are a couple of cheeses from the region of Champagne, and so, you know, look for them. I'll tell you what they're called. One is called Langres. That's Langres, pronounced Langres. So that's one that you can find we have every once in a while. There's another one called Showers.
Showers. Can we go back to the Langres real quick?
Yeah.
The beauty of Langres, everybody, and I do believe Mission Hills has some, but think about it for holiday entertaining because it's a little form, about 8 ounces in size, which is half a pound. It has a divot at the top. It was specifically created to pour champagne into the divot. So then you just cut into it, smear it on something, and you've got best of both worlds all in one.
Well, and you said it's schmear. I mean, so it is a softer cheese too.
Yes, it is soft and a bit stinky, but creamy.
Soft, stinky, creamy, interesting shape. Has kind of a brainy rind, but that's from Champagne.
Brainy.
There's another one I mentioned called Showers, and that's CHAOURCE.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Showers. That is another triple cream Brie style from the region of Champagne. Look for those. They're really fun, but they're similar to the Brillat Savarin. Now, if you had those, then that would be an example of a regional pairing because they're from the same region. Another direction you can go is textural pairing, and that's what Gina was talking about with this Brillat Savarin or any triple cream. Even if you had a soft goat cheese, if you had even if you had a fresh cheese like a burrata or something, you can go that route.
Yeah, anything creamy,
as
dreamy is perfect with it. We have a new Colleen loves it, and I'm with you, Colleen. The cream with the berries.
You could not go wrong.
Strawberries and cream.
It's strawberries and cream.
It's strawberry and cream.
This is dessert. This is decadence.
Yeah, sweet and salty.
The Brillat just came in. I mean, this came in maybe 2 days ago.
But it is mushy. Like it's runny.
No,
it's ripe.
It's soft. It's good, but it will get a little bit stronger, and to me, like it'll just get a little bit more of like a, I don't know, an earthiness, maybe a little saltier.
Yeah.
Little gamier. So right now it just has more of like that.
It's just cream.
It's cream, but like almost like a creme fraiche thing going on. So that's the Brillat Savarin. Normandy. There's a lot of great cheeses from Normandy. That's where one of the kings of French cheese is from, and that's Camembert.
From Normandy. It's all good.
You can't go wrong.
Can't go good. Can I tell you a little bit right now, because I can see them so good, is the bubbles in the champagne. I'm going to clear my little condensation on here. But bubbles. Okay. It is a true fact, or is this a true fact, or is it a myth? Generally, the smaller the bubbles, the better the champagne. Or the better the bubbles.
The smaller the hangover.
Smaller the hangover, yeah. The smaller the bubbles, the smaller the hangover. I kind of feel that it probably has to do with quantity consumed, but I don't know. Could be wrong.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking quantity. But the bubbles, everybody, is why champagne glasses, and we'll kind of go over that really quick, tend to be taller and skinnier, so that the bubbles kind of stay in the glass longer. Because the wider the surface area, the faster the bubbles will dissipate. So Rob's got the trumpet glass. And what I understand, the creation of the trumpet glass is twofold. They wanted the opening at the top so that when you're sipping, you can smell the aromas really nicely. But apparently by having this V at the bottom, the bubbles tend to congregate at the bottom, and it's a small space. So again, it's not a lot of surface area, so the bubbles hang around longer.
Oh.
Yeah. So hence the shape of that is that way. The tulip, which is the one that's kind of round in the center and then a little tulip at the top, Same reason, they want you to be able to smell the aromas as you drink, but also kind of keep the bubbles as long as you can in there. Which is why most of the time also flutes, this is just the classic flute, which is the straight-edged champagne glass. Again, meant to keep the bubbles as long as they possibly can. They almost always have stems. The new fad is to have a stemless champagne glass, which is super cool. That's super modern, but definitely when you hold it, you get fingerprints all over the glass. Not so shishi. And it warms up the glass. You know, who wants warm champagne? Champagne should be as cold as you can. I've got it in a little cooler, put it on ice. You want to drink it cold. It keeps the bubbles, again, from dissipating fast. But the straight up glasses are what they do it. But in the 50s, and this is the best I could come, I don't have a coupe glass, but it's this shape. You know, you can just see the Mad Men, you know, drinking out of that.
Like a goblet or something.
It's like a goblet, yeah, I don't know. But the coupe is that kind of wide glass. This is, like I said, the best that I've got.
I think
very
Snoop,
50s.
Snoop Dogg has one like that,
Does
too.
Snoop do it? Snoop does everything. How can he be so cool? We'll have to do a Snoop episode because he's just so cool. Anyway, the coupe is great, but what I learned was if you want a mellower taste to your champagne, the coupe is good because once those bubbles dissipate, it softens. It kind of turns into like just a nice white wine with the bubbles. Get a little more smooth, a little more fruity. So if you kind of want to mellow out, go with the coupe. If you want to keep your bubbles as long as you can, the tulip is a great idea, and that's kind of the most popular style of a champagne glass.
You know, I read something about champagne. I was actually researching Cremant, the other French sparkling wine, and they started defining what Cremant was in 1975, or maybe that's when they started defining champagne. But the word Cremant comes from the word cream, the French word for creamy.
Oh,
and
really?
it used to refer to wines and champagne that were less fizzy. They were creamier. So they were like referring to the texture. And then, until 1975, the Cremants could be from Champagne. Now they can't be from Champagne. Now they're from, there's like 7 regions where Cremants can come from.
Oh, so Cremant cannot be from Champagne.
No.
Champagne will only be from Champagne.
Yep.
But Cremant cannot be from Champagne.
Yeah. But it started by just being a creamier champagne or a less fizzy champagne.
All right.
And by the way, and the other one is the word spumante means means foamy or fizzy.
Foamy fizzy, yeah. Asti spumante, fizzy, bubbly. Other words, of course, we know the regions. We've already done cava, Spain.
Cava means cellar or cave, and that's the cavas are the cavas from Spain they're from Catalonia, where Barcelona is, and they are made in the Champagne method. Okay. So that's Cremant is made in the Champagne method. Are
sparkling wines from California, say?
Some are, some aren't.
Okay, some are. Yeah.
But there's Prosecco. Prosecco is like the Italian champagne from Veneto, and they do not use the Champagne method.
Ah, they do their own. Those Italians.
They do. So the champagne, like that, mostly refers to that secondary fermentation. Does it happen in the bottle or does it happen in a big vat? And for Prosecco, it happens in a big vat. But for Cava, it happens in the bottle.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with why they're the ones where they use the Champagne method are more expensive because there's more work and more skill that goes into it. And then of course, like Champagne is so expensive because of the name. A lot of it is marketing.
Yeah, it's like anything, right? I mean, part of it. But part of it is the bubbles are really tiny. It's delicious.
Yeah.
I think that the one you guys are drinking, the Marie de Mont, is almost a little earthy to me. Sparkling wines to me, and almost all the other ones tend to be sweeter, and it's because you've got a brut. So that's when you see brut on it, that is going to signify a dry champagne, where a demi-sec is going to be sweeter. But I think that most California sparkling wines definitely fall towards the sweeter side. Even if they're brut, I think they're sweeter than this one. This one is very dry, but I like that. I think it's good with the cheeses. But if you're not used to it, sometimes people go, well, what's the big deal about champagne? Personally. Because it does have a different flavor profile.
I was always confused about this too. The way that you label them from dry to sweet is extra brut is the driest.
Extra brut, driest, okay.
Then it goes to brut, then extra dry. So extra brut is drier than extra dried. I mean, is that confusing or what?
Who came up with this system?
Then it's sec. Then you start getting into sweet. Then it's demi-sec, and then the sweetest is doux. Deux. Am I saying that right?
Deux.
Deux.
Okay, that's the sweetest.
Do you remember remember the Naked Gun movies, and those same
Yes.
guys made that movie called Hot Shots? Remember part 2 as they call it? Part 2.
Part 2. Yes.
Sorry, random.
We were random. Ideal temp. We have a question from Ryan to serve champagne. Chilled. I mean, I'm going to say we have to keep refrigerators, everything at 40 degrees. I think that's perfect. Slightly even cooler, I would with the champagne.
Whatever.
38 to 41, say, I think would be the ideal temperature for champagne. That's why they typically will put that on ice, even more than a white wine. Like I've got just insulated kind of like cooler thing. This doesn't keep it cool enough. I think it would be better on ice. So the cooler, the better on the champagne. But do not put it in the freezer like I do with other liqueurs because it will explode.
I've done this where like I want something to cool down really fast, and I'll put it in the freezer and just try not to forget it.
I have to put the alarm now.
Yeah.
The alarm has to tell me everything. Yeah.
Should we talk about the second cheese?
Yes, we should.
Okay. I'm glad we have 2 pieces of this one. This guy, so it's in this triangle shape, and it's called Kuntal. And, there's a piece for you. Don't worry.
Okay, good, because I know you would be gone. I turned my head and was, what? Can we have another piece?
So, I don't think I mentioned, the Brillat Savarin was cow's milk. The Cantal is also cow's milk, 100% cow's milk, and the Kuntal is one of those ancient cheeses from France. They've been making it for a couple thousand years. No exaggeration there.
That's so crazy.
And it's from a region called Auvergne, and Auvergne is in the south, and they're probably more known. It's a mountainous region in the south, and they're more known for their blue cheeses. So they have a blue cheese called Bleu d'Auvergne. They have another one called Forme d'Ambert, which are both cow's milk.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of based on Roquefort, which is another famous French blue cheese from a different region. But Roquefort is sheep's milk. The ones from Auvergne are cow's milk. Cantal, though, is made in the cheddar style, and
which French are not known for cheddar.
It is. Yeah. It might be the only one. It's the only one I know of. It's the only French cheese where they do a process called cheddaring.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
And
the only one, yeah.
That's really what defines cheddar cheeses that originated from England, and we all know about the rivalry of England and France over the years.
Yes.
So it's this is a cheddar style cheese. This is one where the French really were inspired by an English cheese.
That long ago, but they won't admit it.
Yeah, or I don't know. Maybe they came up with this independently. I don't know.
Which came first?
It's a good question.
Topic of conversation.
I mean, a lot of what happened, if it's 2,000 years old, I don't know. I don't know how any migration was happening at that point, but during the Middle Ages, people were moving around for religious pilgrimages and whatnot, and that's how a lot of the wine recipes and
get
other
shared,
food,
right?
they get shared
so
and
cool.
blended and mixed, and but I don't know how they came to, and I should talk about what the cheddaring process even means. What it is. So the milk comes into the cheesemaker every morning, every afternoon, because the animals are milked a couple times a day, and the cheesemaker turns the milk into curds and whey. The curds are the solids, the whey is the liquid, and the cheesemaker works with the curd. Now, for a soft cheese like the Brillat Savarin, the curd will be in a big piece. Yeah,
it's a wobbly, like a even more wobbly flan.
Yeah,
is how I like to think of it.
It's
very mushy.
So they'll kind of scoop out with a ladle these big, really gentle pieces of curd, and they'll put them into a form, and they might put 4, 5, or 6 big pieces of curd into a form, and
just that one piece.
And they'll let it form into it'll kind of meld into the wheel, the cheese shape. For cheddars or for all hard cheeses, they cut the curd into little pieces, and it could be pieces as small as a grain of rice. I mean, rice, really small little pieces.
Or bigger.
Or up to a pebble, up to whatever. But you get the drift. I can keep naming things.
Oh, great.
But the point is, when you cut the curd into small pieces like that, you're draining whey the whole time. So that's all part of the process of draining more whey from the cheese. And then when you press everything together, you're draining more and more whey.
Yeah.
They end up pressing all of those curds into these big rectangular slabs, and then they will stack the curd on top of each other.
So crazy.
They're super big, heavy curds, and then all these little curds have melded together into a bigger
because
curd.
they do kind of tend to cling to each other.
Yeah. So it just looks like a big piece of cheese, sort of.
So crazy.
And but what it does is it makes for it keeps a high acid level for the cheese, and it's what we experience later, what we describe later as being sharp.
Yes.
It's an acidic tang.
Which is super distinctive to cheddars.
Yeah, when you taste a cheddar, you go, that tastes like cheddar. It's a cheddar, obviously.
Yeah. Acid does this.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's tied into the make process.
Yeah.
And so now cheddars whether they're from what originally made a cheddar was that they were from England and made in this way. Now they're not. Very few of them are made in cheddar anymore.
Yeah.
Or around cheddar England.
Much more made outside.
Yeah, but you always know what they are because of the make process. That's what gives it that flavor.
So this is made in that style, everybody. But this one, I wanted to point out my piece, Rob, because look at that.
Oh, yeah.
I've got an imperfection in my cheese. And so you can see this is on the inside, what we call the paste. So the interior is the paste of the cheese, and of course the exterior is the rind. And you can eat the rind, by the way. It's just natural. It's dried up cheese on the outside. So taste it. To me, it tastes like a cave. I mean, it smells like a cave. I haven't tasted it yet. But the imperfection, you guys, in the English cheddars that we get, some people pay a premium to get that imperfection on the inside. And really all that's happened there is that an air pocket got in there, and so it started drying up. But you can totally eat it, is what I wanted to bring up. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to say, oh my God, my cheese is bad. It's not. That was really good.
Yeah, we go, there's like certain cheese shops in London, for example, where they'll have all these traditional English cheeses in there. And people they'll ask for the piece that has a crack in it that's growing green or blue mold. They're like, I want that piece. That's the yummy piece right there. I tried it with some of the whole grain mustard, and it was really,
is it good? Okay.
Really good.
Because George is noticing that it's a very mild. In the cheddar world, totally agree. It's on the super mild side. But it's more toward the English cheeses, because I think the English cheddars tend to be on that milder side, where we're used to that sharp cheddar. Canadians do super sharp cheddars. We do super sharp cheddars. The Scottish, interesting, do super sharp. But the English tend to be this more subtle.
Yeah.
I get stone. I get mineral. I get cave.
I get dirt.
You get dirt. Yeah, I know that's kind of classic too, like English style cheddar.
Yeah, there's two schools. There's like two types of cheddar. Those really sharp ones, and those tend to be more of like the factory style, which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, they're delicious.
And they can be aged for a really long time. A lot of times they get wrapped in plastic, and that actually will help them age longer or sit longer in an aging room, as opposed to ones that get wrapped in cloth or bandage.
Yeah.
They can only get up to about maybe 2.5 years, because they'll dry out after that. But they tend to be more. They have more like subtlety and nuance to them, and that's more of like how cheddars would have been hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. You said you tried it already with mustard?
I tried with mustard and the Cornichon.
And the Cornichon. I was going to say that, you guys, if you do cheese, mustard, Cornichon, you have what's typically known as a plowman's lunch. Yeah, just add a little bread to it.
You need
an
onion.
A plowman's lunch. You need an onion. We need onion and some pumpernickel. I don't know, be good. But champagne with a plowman's lunch, the English would not have it.
It was supposed to have a beer. Come on.
We should have a beer.
I was gonna say, so one of the other interesting things about
that's so good.
Because we're talking about the traditional English cheddars and how they will take on kind of like limestone, or they almost it to me sometimes it's like it tastes like or smells like. Sometimes you get these smells that are reminiscent of like a river rock or something.
Did we have this discussion? I used to suck on rocks.
Yeah.
I love
I don't think we did.
Taste of rocks.
But metallic. It's like metallic or stony.
Stone. Cave. Yeah.
And I mentioned that at one of the other tastings that we did. But
dirt.
Yeah, and what's interesting about champagne is I mentioned the fact that they're in northern France and northern Europe, and that affected that secondary fermentation. The weather made it the wines ferment a second time, which caused them to be fizzy or sparkling wines. But the other thing is that the terroir, which means like the terrain, the earth, it's 65 million years ago. We're gonna go way back, 65 million years. It used to be connected. There was no English Channel. It was connected
like
to
the mass. Yeah.
Yes, to where cheddar is, like to southwest England, and like where Stonehenge and all that stuff is, that bottom part of England, and that
south. typically.
The White Cliffs of Dover. Think of the White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of terrain where you have like these limestony cliffs and this hard earth. And in Champagne, when so a few thousand years later, a few million years later, the Romans were in Champagne, and they were building these cities, and they built the cities by digging out the limestone, by taking the limestone
crazy.
out of the earth. That left a space for the caves, which later became used for aging the wines.
So perfect.
And for the Riddlers to do their thing. But I just got lost in my train of thought. But so those are called crayères. Those are the caves.
Yes.
But my point is that it was like this chalky. It's like this chalky earth that the grapes grow in, and this limestony terrain, and that also it contributes to what makes Champagne unique. It's the weather, but also the earth.
The earth, and that again goes back to, I think they taste more earthy. Champagnes, true champagnes.
Yeah. And you can find awesome pictures of Champagne, of these vineyards like growing at these crazy slopes on like these white, almost in rock.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God, Rob. So our friend Jewel, hello Jewel online, said, okay, I tried the Cantal with the mustard and Cornichon. That's to die for. I'm trying with the chocolate. No, but I did do it at the same time. It's delicious. Chocolate and cheese together should be happening more often.
You know what I didn't do?
We need to just do that.
I forgot to try the Brillat with strawberry.
No, don't even get started because you won't end. It's so good.
I'm going backward.
That's okay. It still tastes good, right?
No, not anymore. No, of course.
Can't do it. Okay, the chocolate with the Cantal together is awesome. Oh, I love it. And chocolate with bubbles, which I need more of.
So good.
So good.
It is milder than it normally is right now, to me, the Brillat.
The Brillat? Yeah, sometimes. And it
Cantal's
does not
really
as
good.
salty as sometimes. There's other triple creams like Brillat. Pierre Robert's, another one. You mentioned Chaours. There's lots of them in that style, but this one's not as salty, which is good. It's more cream. To me, that's just super creamy.
The La Delice de Bourgogne is another one that's really popular from Burgundy. There's a ton of them. I mean, you can come into our shop anytime, and we'll have half a dozen triple creams. And of course, they're not only from France; they come from all over. So there's a lot of great triple creams from all over the United States. And I would say, the French are the ones who have inspired others with those cheeses. But you don't see a lot of triple creams from Italy. Like, you see some softer cheeses, but not so much of the triple cream.
If you do, it's the goats that are soft,
or
right?
Robbiolas, which are kind of their version of a brie.
Their version of a brie. But yeah, they don't have the same characteristics, the same flavors. Yeah. What do you think of making a croque madame with the Cantal? I say yes.
Yeah,
This was a suggestion.
It would be awesome with the Cantal. I don't know how. You'd probably have to shred it for it to melt.
Croque monsieur from Richard.
Yeah.
Shred it to melt even. Yeah, it won't melt as good as a Gruyere.
Well, the traditional, I should say, what's more commonly used for those are the Alpine style cheeses,
because they melt so smooth.
And so the next cheese would be fun to try for that too.
Can we try it now?
It's an Alpine, but it's a little bit different because it's not as firm as most of the other Alpine cheeses. It's more in line, or more of the texture of a raclette. Yeah, I would say.
This is bouncy, spongy.
Bouncy, I like that.
I don't know, bouncy. To me, these ones, they're rubbery, but not in a bad way, but they're bouncy. We'll say bouncy.
They go like this. Remember when you see the pencils?
Oh, that's right. Morbier. I love it. This gets towards the stinky side of cheeses.
This will melt nicely. It will have a very strong aroma in your house.
Richard,
if
yes,
you melt
a croque monsieur, croque madame with this.
You can always do a blend of a Morbier or something like that. So a couple of notes about the Morbier.
I just ate the whole piece.
Oh my gosh. Rind and eat the rind on this one.
It's gritty.
Oh yeah.
And barnyardy. Try it with the bubbles.
So this is a washed rind, stinky cheese. They're all French cheeses. What do you think?
I think it would have been great with the mustard and the Cornichon, but I ate it all, so I can't try it.
You can no. Morbier is named after a little town in the region of Franche-Comté, and Franche-Comté is a mountainous region. It is north of the Rhone Alps and Savoie, but it's basically the French Alps. And the most famous and the most made cheese and imported cheese from that region is called Comté. So it's named for the region. We've talked about that one on these tastings before, and those are huge wheels. They're always cow's milk, and it's actually the most popular French cheese of all of them, and it's because of volume. You know, there's it's not as well known as, say, Roquefort or Brie or some of the others, but because they produce so much of it, it is the most voluminous, I should say.
Voluminous. Did you already talk about the ash line and the tradition of that?
But I will. So Morbier is historically the same cheesemakers that made Comté also made Morbier. So they would make the let's see, I'll back up even more. In that part of Europe, they have cows, and the cows march up the mountains, and a lot of times they have more milk than they can consume. And when you have a lot of milk, nothing goes to waste, so you make these big old wheels of cheese, and then you make a firmer cheese that's going to last, into the colder months when it's harder to find food. So you don't always have the exact amount of cheese to make a wheel of cheese, a whole wheel.
Because a Comté is 80 pounds?
They're big.
They're
big wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have the full amount to make a whole wheel, you can make a half a wheel. And then when you have the milk from the afternoon, or if you have to wait till the morning for the milk to come in, then you can top off that wheel. Well, while the curd is sitting there, they don't want the curd to get. They don't want the critters to get
rodents. No, not rodents. Flying bugs.
Flies. Bugs and rodents, and
yes.
even just dirt and things like that. All the stuff that's around. They didn't want that to get into the curds, so they would sprinkle the curds with something to protect it. In this case, they used ash, and so when they topped the cheese off, ash, like burnt wood or burnt grape stems or grape leaves or something. So then when they had the second batch of milk come in and they could finish off the wheel, they would finish off the cheese, and then when you cut into it, there would be a line of ash right through the middle. And it was cool because it represented, it told you, like, morning milk versus afternoon milk, or vice versa, however they put it together.
Yeah, isn't that so cool?
And that was done for the longest time.
Yeah, for centuries, right? Yeah. Just for the longest. Morbier.
And so the cheese itself is an Alpine style cheese, like a Comté, but it's not aged as long, and so it has more moisture, so it makes for a softer cheese. If anybody is familiar with raclette, they're very close in terms of like an age and milk type, and even they're made in the same place pretty much.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of cheeses that are paying ode or homage to the Morbier, and one's called Humboldt Fog.
Oh, that's right. That has the same.
From California, and it just they don't use morning milk and afternoon milk, but they do separate. They do separate the cheese with a layer of ash.
Isn't that so cool? To use something that's just made nature, the leaves. Yeah,
one of the things
so cool
about the Morbier is that one of the things I always remember about it is that it was mentioned like 3 times in different books by Anthony Bourdain. I always
loved the Morbier?
It had to be his favorite cheese because he always talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew here loves Morbier with pickle. And again, I can't try it, Andrew, because I ate it all so
Well, I
fast.
can, so let's see how
Stop!
it does. And we
That's
rub it in.
rude. Rub it in. Well, whatever. Okay.
Oh, Andrew, you are so right.
With
Gina,
the pickle?
it's good.
Is it better than the Cantal with the pickle, or is it just so different? What is it? What's happening? Ah! I need more.
Today I like it better
with
the pickle.
Whatever, you're saying that because I can't have any.
Usually I like cheddar with cornichons.
Usually, but today you're loving the Morbier.
So I like the Morbier.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay.
So
We have fans, Rob, out there. Richard, Colleen, Ryan, Andrew, Jewel, all are having a great time.
Yay!
And from Idaho, we got people from Idaho. We got people from all over.
Idaho.
We've got celebratory people.
Represent.
Champagne brings that out in people. I think Champagne's celebratory, so everybody's celebratory.
We love it.
This is awesome, great.
We're celebrating. Just life is good. Life is good.
And keep celebrating that. In the midst of anything, just always keep the day going good.
There's always cheese. There's always wine.
Yes. Just keep eating more. I don't care. Awesome. Okay.
So they,
Morbier.
Comté, Comté, the region, French Comté, it means free county, and that refers
free county.
Free county. So feudalism was a system that was happening all over Europe at this time. In the Middle Ages, but where French Comté is now was free. It was a free county, meaning they were free of feudalism.
Oh, okay.
As that was a system where if you lived on a rich guy's land, instead of paying rent, you just worked for him. So it was like it was like slavery basically. And so they didn't really have that. There's another really famous cheese called Reblochon. Where they used to pay their taxes and pay their fees to the landowners in feudalism with cheese or with milk.
Do you think I could get away with that? For our taxes are coming due here in December. Do you think I could just give wheels of cheese to the tax
You can
department?
try.
I'm going to try it.
You get the
Bring
right
back
person, you never know.
Tradition,
I did an event downtown years ago, and I had to park in some fancy hotel, and I was leaving, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta pay for this, and I just didn't have cash on me, and I was like, but I had a big old chunk of Midnight Moon. I had a big chunk of Gouda.
Oh my god, did you?
So I paid the valet. I was like, I don't have any cash.
I can cheese.
Yeah. I was like,
did it work?
I had a card, but I didn't want to use it. But I was like, I got a big old piece of cheese. I said, I got a pound of Gouda. What do you think? And he took it. So I paid.
So it's
the
worth a
cheese.
try, is what you're saying.
So always carry cheese with you.
Always carry cheese in your back pocket. If you're out of cash, a hunk of cheese will do.
Yeah, you need to park at Disneyland or something. It's like $100 to park there. So
I kind of see like a series. Is how often can we get away with paying with cheese?
Well, have you ever seen these stories about guys who start with like a clothespin or something, or like a paper clip, and then they end up with a mansion like in Beverly Hills?
That might be like an old wives' tale or something.
Is it not true?
It might not be true, but we could try it.
Well, what I know is this:
try it.
If we start with a pound of Gouda, we have a big head start. That's better than a paper clip. So,
it's way
in
better.
my opinion.
Yes, we should get a couple mansions out of a hunk of Gouda.
Yeah. Why not?
Exponentially so. Oh my gosh. Sem? Do you know Sem?
Who? No.
Yeah.
I don't know a Sem.
And Adelina?
Hi, family.
Oh,
Mwah.
Warms the heart.
I'll show you pictures because I had some great pictures sent my way on my way here.
Aw, toothache.
Somebody had food all over her face, and it wasn't my wife.
Or you.
Or me. That'll be later.
Yeah, not her. You.
I'm on my best behavior when I'm on camera here. Come on.
And George, we're talking about all these cool places, the limestone caves, of Roquefort and Cantal and Italy and whatever. And George, 2021, we're going to be back in the traveling saddle, and everyone is going to be invited to come with us because it's going to be good. And I don't care. We're making it good. Yeah.
Email us, George. We'll put you on the list to get information because the
events
trips
right.
We think they're going to happen again in 2021. We've got a couple that are just on the back burner, but yeah, I mean, someday we'd like
France and Alps are happening.
France and Alps are already set up, and I think they're already sold out, but we can get you on the wait list for those. But we're going to continue doing them. I mean, someday we want to take you guys to the Cheddar Gorge in England and look at that just natural beauty. But there's nothing like being in a cheese cave and smelling the smells and just seeing the sights. It's and
you just can't. It's one thing to taste it, but to taste it there and to see it and how it's made is you
can't compare.
You can't capture it. Yeah.
And the other thing that is so great about going to those places is that the people who create the cheeses, the makers, and their families. It's such a passion and a labor of love for them that they just infect you with it. Like they force feed you. We kind of do that at Venissimo too. But
it's all about eating. I don't care.
It is, and you end up spending the day with them, and you end up having meals with them and their family. You just.
It's so real. It's so
good.
You just living. That's all.
It's a great thing.
It's a great thing. So yes. Morbier and mustard too. Well, none of us have Morbier now.
Oh, I dropped the knife, darn it. Oh, well.
Oh, dang.
Fingers.
Well, there you go. Fingers work too.
Ready for the next one?
Ready for this one? Yes.
All right.
Bleu.
So it should
Bleu.
be bleu.
Bleu. Bleu.
Should be obvious which one is blue, because it's blue.
Bleu
It
de
is the
Basque.
color blue, azul.
And why would it be called Bleu de Basque, Professor?
Well, one, it is blue because, oh man. First of all, I just took a bite of it.
It's intense, right?
It's intense.
Because it's sheepy.
It's 100% sheep's milk, and I can taste that. It's like sticking to the top of my mouth and my teeth. It's like really creamy and rich in texture.
Okay. Gamey? Goaty?
It's
Not
gamey.
gamey. Sheepy?
It's got a finish to it, like a little bite on the finish actually too. There's a natural rind which you can eat. Bleu de Basque is a blue cheese from the Basque region. It's from the French side of the Basque region. The region itself is known. Most of the cheeses from there are sheep or goat or a blend of sheep and goat's milk.
In the Basque, yeah.
This one is 100% sheep's milk. Now I mentioned a cheese earlier called Roquefort. Now this is similar to Roquefort in that they're both blue cheeses. They're both from southern France, and they're both 100% sheep's milk.
Yeah. That is Earth City.
Yeah, this one's a little bit like grittier and drier than Roquefort, which is like creamier.
Creamy. You could almost spread a Roquefort.
Yeah.
This one you couldn't. You could slice, obviously, crumble.
Yeah.
But wow, that's got earth.
Yeah.
I taste the hooves of the sheep.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
I just feel it's the ground that they walk on. But I love it.
Yeah, this is a cheese that is. I mean, it's fairly new in the world of cheese in that it's probably 50, maybe 40 years old or so, and it's from a big co-op in the Basque region, and they started making cheese because they had a lot of excess milk, and that's like I was talking about the Alpines, how that a lot of times that's the reason for
different form.
Cheeses have been created over the years for practical purposes.
Preserve.
To preserve. I mean, think about it. Cheese is spoiled milk. It's just preserved milk. You know, and it was like the
milk's leap to immortality.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
But I mean, it was just always it's a food that, well, we always say this too. It's energy dense. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of healthy stuff
in the little bite,
packed into a little bite of cheese that will give you energy. And you know, it's very valuable.
What about cheese and chocolate?
Should I?
We know all cheese and chocolate go good, and I agree. Who said that? Jewel. Yes, any cheese with chocolate, but really specifically blue cheese with chocolate. Oh, and triple creams. But try the blue with the chocolate. Some cheesemakers like Rogue River Creamery, they make truffles, like chocolate truffles, but using their blue cheese in it, and it's so good together. So yes, So I'm good with the champagne, Jewel. Yes, all together.
So I just had a chocolate pretzel with that blue, and I mentioned the bite.
God, that's so good.
It's so with the chocolate pretzel, it took away the bite, and it actually gave it kind of sweet finish. And
I agree.
Sweet and smooth, yeah.
Completely changed the cheese with the pretzel.
Wow, I liked it better with the pretzel. I'm surprised I'm saying that.
Me too, because it was so intense without it. Another thing is honey. Often, we say that often with the blues. Try some honey because it'll tame the gaminess.
That's a balance, and they call that a contrasting pairing. I mentioned I go back to these a lot, but the different types of pairing, because it's fun to it's a way to sort of make sense of it, or to quantify, or to explain. That's why I use those different types of pairing with regional, textural, contrasting, and then complementary is the other type.
It's good. What about blue with cornichon? Like a pickly thing with a blue. Do you like that?
I think it would.
You should try it.
Okay, fine.
Because I should pour myself some more champagne. While I tell you, just while you're tasting that, do you know the top 2 selling champagnes in the world?
Is this trivia? Should I guess?
Sure. But you guess. Number 1 and number 2 best-selling champagnes in the world.
I'll say Veuve Clicquot. And I'll say. What? Stop.
I didn't say anything.
You were going to. I know you. Wait, I'm going to say Veuve Clicquot, and I'm going to say I'll say Moet and Chandon.
Moet and Chandon.
Moet and Chandon. Sorry.
You were exactly right, but flip-flop them.
Okay.
So Moet and Chandon is the #1 best-selling champagne in the world.
Well, I didn't say which one I was saying was #1 and 2. I'm just saying that the two, and then the order. You didn't. Come on, Alex Trebek. You did not ask a good question.
I did not clarify.
You did not clarify.
Exactly into the order. What about the whatever? What about the #1 selling U.S. made, which is not a champagne, it's a sparkling wine? Do you know what brand that is?
I'll say Corbel.
That was like #3. So isn't that interesting?
Brothers.
Yeah, the Corbel was like #2 or 3.
#1 is it?
This wasn't surprising to me.
It was or wasn't?
It was because I would have guessed Corbel or even Cooks. You see that
Cooks,
often,
yeah.
right?
Is like I don't know.
Those were up in the top.
I don't know. Oh wait, no, stop. Gloria Ferrar.
Oh, that was like #4. That was right up there. Right up there.
I know that one because my brother got married at that winery.
Oh, super cool.
But
because you're a Northern California wine country guy.
Okay.
La Marca. So it's kind of got a blue label. Anyway, I bet you recognize it.
I've
see
seen
it. Anyway, that's the top-selling sparkling U.S. made wine. Isn't that interesting?
I
By
wonder
quite a
if
bit.
they're. I don't know much about it. I probably shouldn't say anything, but I wonder if it's like a less expensive one or something.
It is. I think all of them here definitely. They don't. Champagnes are a good champagne. You're looking at $30 plus.
Easy. Oh, easy.
Yeah, like Veuve, I saw the other day. Everything's been 50 plus. So maybe the year of champagne wasn't so good, or it was really good, and they're trying to sell for more. So I used to get it for like 40, and now I get it for like 50 or something. Wow. So
did I say that right? Veuve Clicquot.
It's actually the Kiko. No L.
So no. So the answer is no. I didn't say it right. Okay.
Moet.
Moet.
Moet and Chandon.
I like Moet better.
No, did you not hear that Queen song?
Do they?
She got Moet and Chandon.
That's what they say?
Cigarettes. That's what he's talking about.
Marie Antoinette. Just
that
like
song.
Marie Antoinette.
Building
Killer
remedy.
Queen.
Killer Queen is Moet and Chandon. Listen, and you will know.
Oh,
Queen wouldn't lie.
Yeah, I didn't. Maybe I did know that, but I just sing it all together, so I didn't realize what they were saying. Like, we should have a show like
words from songs.
Yeah, that we think are right, but when we say the wrong lyric, we make up our own lyric.
This is a good one, just because you opened that door. There's a bad moon on the rise. You know that song?
Oh, Creedence.
There's a bathroom on the right.
That's good.
My friends thought that was
There's
just a bathroom on the right.
That's good.
Kind of sounds like it, but anyway, we digress.
Little secret about something that people don't know about me.
Okay.
You know this.
Oh, Truth or Dare. Another good one.
I'm an avid Howard Stern listener.
I do know this.
Yeah, okay. But they do song parodies. That's one of my favorite things on the show.
Parodies are best.
Remember the song parodies?
Yes.
And so
which one are you thinking?
Well, I can't say them on this. This is PG. This is a family show, but they're very, very good at the song parodies. Big fan.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a confession that I was a Howard Stern fan. That's all.
Yeah, me too.
I like honesty.
Yes, and just letting it be. What it is, it is. You like, you don't, and that's how it is. Yeah. So it goes. So that was all so good.
Well, it was. The thing I love so much about, and another confession. People ask sometimes, like, what's your favorite country? For what country has your favorite cheeses? And
that's tough.
Well, not for me. It's a pretty clear-cut winner. France. France beats Italy.
It does?
It does. It beats Spain. It beats American cheeses. You have everything, but I'm just gonna say between France and Italy, I like the French.
You're going French
better, and the reason is they do every style so well, and you go pick a region, and
I will agree.
You like goat cheese. The Loire Valley goat's milk cheeses are the best in the world.
Oh, yeah,
or they're right up there.
100%.
You like brie or soft cheeses? Well, brie, duh. If you like blue cheeses, you've got Roquefort and the Bleu de Vin, all the ones from the south. The only one that they really don't do is cheddar, but they have Cantal, which is they do kind of do cheddar.
Pretty darn close, yeah.
If you like Alpine cheeses, you have Beaufort and Comté. If you like Gouda, there's a cheese called Mimolette, which is from northern France.
Excuse me, some would say cross between a Gouda and cheddar.
Yeah. And then if you like, or it's almost like a Edam. If people know Edam, that's what it's very similar to. If you like washed rind or stinky cheeses, is what we call them. France is the place.
Yes.
You can't argue with me.
Reblochon.
You can't argue with me, Gina.
Can I not argue with you?
I mean, you can. But.
We're gonna have a standoff. France versus Italy.
I mean, they do everything.
They do, and what I think you said was really good is they do it so well.
Yeah.
Italy does tons of stuff, and I'm gonna give creativity to Italy.
Okay.
Because they're crazy. The stuff they come up with.
It's true.
But some of them are not the greatest. Where France, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you that.
How do you? The Charles de Gaulle quote was what it was. How do you govern? How do you govern a country that has 240? I think it was 246
at that time. Which now,
How do you govern a country that has 246 different kinds of cheese?
Yes, and all unique.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a lot more than that now.
It is exactly like that's like
we're talking thousands.
Yeah, right.
But the point is like so many cheeses, but so many that are done so well.
Yes. France. That's good.
Gotta love it.
I love it, everybody. Well, George thinks there's better farms in France. Could be that too. The terroir. It's good terroir. You're going to get good product out of that.
And this is it's my opinion because somebody else, if you tell me that your favorite cheeses are from Italy, then you're right. Yes. Because that's your favorite. I can't argue with that. I really can't.
You can't.
If that's your favorite.
Because it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going to go with France, go with France. Whatever.
Heck yeah. They're all really they're all delicious. I mean,
it's all delicious.
They're all delicious.
It's all worth exploring.
Yeah, and it really is. It's apples and oranges.
It is apples and oranges.
It's palms and
l'orange.
Palms and oranges. Doesn't sound the same.
That does bring me to, because we have to wrap this up. We're just babbling away. Our next Wino Wednesday, because we're talking about France, most underrated cheese country in the world. Are you going to agree with me on this one?
I don't know.
Spain.
Oh.
Spain and Portugal. Everyone knows Manchego, but what about all the others?
Yeah.
What do we think?
Yeah, we'll go over them.
We're going to go over them with Grenache wine.
Spain
is our next Wino Wednesday.
Definitely does not get enough
recognition
for the cheeses other than Manchego.
Yeah.
This is true.
So we're going to explore that, and Portuguese, because Portuguese, most distinctive cheeses in the world. If you ask me, when you taste them, you're going to know that's Portuguese, because they're very distinctive, and we'll tell you why. The next Wino Wednesday, which is 2 weeks from today.
Sounds good to me.
Grenache.
And then are we doing a Sunday session?
Not this Sunday. We're going to wait, and we have another cooking Sunday session coming up.
Is that the pop-up dinner?
Yep. Okay. This is a pop-up dinner. That is at the beginning of November. We're getting into holidays, you guys. We're doing another cooking with Nate, our chef. Thanksgiving. I'm not even going to tell you how good it's going to be, but an unusual Thanksgiving meal. That's coming. And then Beaujolais. November is Beaujolais release. We're back to France, and we're talking about everything France. And this is a tradition every year, the release of the Beaujolais. And that's going to be coming in November.
Can't wait.
We're going to do that too. So, we have so much comments. Everybody loves farms in France. Jewel loves Spanish cheeses. Yay. Jewel, not underrated because there's so much cheese. Yes, we're going to all eat them together. Colleen, George, everyone out there, Jason, the whole team. And again, another happy anniversary message to Frida in Israel. Happy joining us. We really, really appreciate it. This one was really fun, and I've got more champagne to finish. And thank you.
Thanks,
Eat
everybody.
Cheese, and we'll see you next time. And vive la France. And what was the words? À votre santé. À votre santé.
À votre santé.
Moët.
Moët.
And Chandon.
Bye, everybody.